Chainlink Friday price update, August 22nd. Out of nowhere, seemingly, prices are massively rocketing. Chainlink on the 4-hour, seemingly holding where it needs to hold, right? It's showing up big time all week, right where it needs to. And today is no exception, at least so far. So we're going to look at the 4-hour to start with. High targets, low targets. Then we'll zoom out to the daily and then the weekly to know what we need to be watching for at that weekly close. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Doing daily Chainlink updates. And if you want more help navigating this cycle, you want help exiting and keeping more of your money this cycle, I would suggest trying out our Patreon Silver group. We do a lot of daily updates and a lot more educational content in there. I'm a level 1 CMT. I have hundreds of hours of formal training. I try to pass that knowledge on to you. All right, so the 4-hour chart, bouncing off the 50 EMA here, right where we conveniently did it last time and the time before that, loosely. So now we're back to range highs. And this is resistance, right? Range highs are always resistance until they're proven otherwise. But we're sure as hell working on closing the highest candle that we've seen all cycle, at least since the $30 area, this entire uptrend. So it's important to also be noting your volume at these levels, right? When you're in this uptrend, if you're going to break out to new highs, you want that confirmed by not only regular volume, which we have at the bottom here, and noting the biggest volume all uptrend. Holy hell, that's a great sign. But not only that, but my favorite is to use the on balance volume, the OBV. You want to see that confirming at a higher high, even if before it does the actual price higher high. That's even a better sign, right? You see how the OBV has already taken out this peak, right? That's excellent. We had closed this candle in 8 minutes. So obviously by the time you watch this, did we close at a higher high, or are we still waiting on the next candle? Well, the moving average trends are accelerating again, right? You can see that EMA 8 over, bouncing here, right? Just like we did back here, right? That led to several more candles to the upside. So where could we potentially see some more resistance if we break through here? I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look. You got to zoom out, right? We got to look back. And notingly, where's this tend to been holding the EMA 8? Look at our wick down there. Really, this was this morning we were down in the dumps, right? Market wide. So what's happened? Well, Jerome Powell is speaking at the Jackson Hole Summit, and he spoke at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which was a couple hours ago. And he's hinted at potential easing on the rates. So obviously market's reacting to that. We'll see if this continues to play out. Tether dominance is down. Bitcoin dominance is down. Like, check this out. All right, so you're going to see, as this is falling, you're going to see altcoins really taking over here. So we need to see that continue. Mid 50s, altcoins are going berserk, right? Bitcoin's holding steady, slightly bullish. As dominance is falling, that's when altcoins start to come out of their shell, right? And we're seeing that textbook bounces on EMA 8 by link, right? Look at the closing prices, just the line chart. EMA 8 bounce, EMA 8 bounce. We didn't even get to it now, right? It's even stronger. And again, confirmed with great volume. So we're looking at closing, again, range highs, another local high as of today. All we need to do is take out this guy, 2645, higher than that right now. All right, Bollinger Bands, how are those looking? Well, the upper Bollinger Band is now at 2850. Maybe we could tag that again. Usually in these like big outbreaks, you can tag that before another local top. But as we looked at yesterday, let's look at the 3-day chart. Our W pattern, remember we looked at this, right? How oftentimes we mirrored that. We mirrored image that. So if you want to go check that out, we talked more about this and how we have this dip here. Right? You've been watching, right? Something like this, well, a mirror image of that would be a back test here. Sooner or later, whether that's right where we are now, or if we're going to come up to the $30 area, our cycle highs, do a perfect circle over here. Are we going to hit that first, right? We don't know. But this is definitely macro resistance, right? We can even go use the high wick at 31 there to our low close. So somewhere in here is likely to hold as initial resistance Now, maybe we go up for a couple more weeks. Maybe we actually put in new highs and then kind of back test. The most bullish scenario would be if Chainlink can just go on an absolute killer rip, go above this, and then back test, do like a throwback to this zone and hold that as support. Then we're looking at, high dollars where potentially, well over 100 if we can, throw this out. Right? If Chainlink wants to get crazy, like we can do crazy. We can add triple digits, but right, it's going to depend on how we interact with this and, how many weeks it takes to kind of rebuild. I would anticipate some kind of a move back down at some point, right? Obviously, like this is a great move. 140%. Can we get to 200%? Right? That gets us to, cycle highs. Right? I don't know when we hesitate, but likely sooner than later. We have the bullish scenario where we come back down here even, hold the EMA 8, right? That's at 22 now and rising quite rapidly, I might add. Or, right, we break through this zone and maybe we just close the close, right? That would be even better, right? High close, high close. So like we looked at before, maybe we just break through this, go to new highs, and then come back and hold this. Then we're going to look at a moonshot. Versus the little bit more conservative bull would say we hold this, come back to maybe mid to low 20s, and then go on later into Q4 where our bigger alt season will commence. So another 4 to 6 weeks of, not only Chainlink, but altcoins, I think, kind of gearing up, getting their shit together. And then Q4 full send. All right, and this chart, along with many other altcoin charts, and again, the total 3 altcoin chart that we looked at also, the total 3 on the monthly looks like it's ready to absolutely annihilate within the next 1 to 2 months. Again, that kind of backs up the theory of alt season in Q4. This does as well. And, for the ultimate, if you want the $100 Chainlink, right, we need to punch through here. We need to hit cycle highs before coming down. I don't know the timing. But before backtesting the EMA8, we would like to kind of punch through, like something like we got just really accelerated here. So over the next 1 to 2 weeks, we'd love to see Chainlink pressing new highs first. That would increase our odds greatly of seeing those triple digits. All right, not that we can't do it without it, but that's kind of what I would kind of be hoping for the bigger move. The 3-day Gaussian channel still red. Now, likely going to be probably towards the end of September, going into that Q4 before we get this going. Again, if we could flip this green at the same time we're at cycle highs, all is well. Right? We're going to be looking great. Going out to the weekly, what we need to look at this week, what are we focusing on? Well, we'd be looking at potentially our really second or third highest weekly candle all cycle. Right? We're in that wheelhouse now. On the weekly, right, we're already in the zone. 1, 2, 3 candles have closed higher than where we are now. And we just did it last week. Everything's looking great. Bollinger Bands diverging. Moving averages sorted out least to great. Moving averages accelerating. But we're still in the resistance zone, right? This is still like the glue. We'll see if we've got the power to kind of punch through here and put in fresh cycle highs. It's not that far away. We're not asking for a miracle here. Like 10%, and we're there. Just over. All right, so you can also note like the 200, right? That pink line is starting to accelerate. That's usually a great sign of that the trend really continuing for, it's like the big gear on your bicycle, right? It's once you hit that, it's kind of smoother sailing, right? It's a lot of work to get it going there. So we're at the I mean, look, we've already kind of breached these highs, right? Yeah, I think the moving average is higher than that. So we're really on the verge of, in the next couple of weeks, looking to explode here. Now, again, like I need to stress, like this could easily come here, right? Somewhere in here. You don't need to panic if we do this. So especially on the weekly test, it's $21 for the top line now. And that will probably update, maybe $22, $23 you have at the weekly close. So where this updates this week doesn't matter. What is important is when we come back down, we need to hold it. So wherever that might be. So the odds are we hold here, back test, which would still be great. But the ultimate bulls would be more or less on like this. And then we would, reach for the stratosphere there. Okay. Do we want to look at, since it's Friday, we probably should look at some indicators on the weekly and noting that MFI is at range highs, right? Going back all 2023 where we started. How many times do you see us above 80? Was it twice? Right, we're knocking on the door here. Let's watch where this updates. Okay, MFI is better than RSI because it has volume included. And we are getting a little bit of bearish divergence here because we have prices increasing. We need to see this up. We need to shake that trend. Right, we need to get this up here. Likely need to get that above 80. Might want to note that over the next couple of weeks. But we have momentum going for us. Look at the MACD. Holy hell. Right, increasing. Great. We need to continue that. We need to get back to these range highs as well. We can check into that a little bit more often. But at these weekly closes, right, we want to be looking for, either confirmations of continuation, which, I mean, we have pedal to the metal here, right? Stochastic, this is your momentum. It's full tilt. We are cranked out. That's what we want to see. The Mayer multiple is actually also increasing, right? Really, almost been a year now, right? Since we've been this high. There's last November. And if we ever see Chainlink, up in this, right? Why is this dotted red line there? Well, you can go back and look at history on any coin. If you got this, and you're cranked out over here, you probably want to start taking some profits, right? It's really big. A lot of algorithms based on that, but that's just the kind of the cookie cutter Cliff's Notes version. Now looking at the Fisher transform here, well, where have we topped out here? Well, if Chainlink gets back to here again, certainly September, October, November, and prices are where you're kind of expecting, for at all-time highs, and the Fisher transform is, north of 3.6, like, don't be silly. Probably start paying yourself, right? But that's about it. Just a little bit updates on indicators, and we go over all that stuff in our group, and I try to educate you on how to use that a little bit better. Again, requests, it's really going to help you. I think it'll really help you if you check that out. And if it's not for you, then you can drop off. But we've had people in there for 5 years now that have never left. So I think it's worth checking out. And that's that. Let's check on the weekly Gaussian. We're about to close our third consecutive candle above the Gaussian as it's green. That's kind of been fleeting as well. Again, starting in 2023 back here, that was still relatively short-lived, just getting us out of the bear market, right back to the bull. Okay, there was our cycle highs. Now, I think we're the most organized we have been all cycle right now. And look at these Bollinger Bands still diverging pretty greatly. Right, we could be far from over. Looking at this move, like bouncing off. I mean, look how similar these are. And not only that, but we've got our W pattern going, which is ultra bullish. But look at we broke through the median Gaussian channel, this median line here, back tested it and bounced. Look what we did back here. Broke through it, back tested it, and bounced. So from the Gaussian channel to our local top, it was 125%. If we did the same vibes, right, 125% gets us to, mid 30s, right? $35, $36 before we hesitate. That would be terrific, because then we could be looking at what I first mentioned as breaking through here, right? Getting our big move up, breaking to like 36, and then back texting this as our throwback, flipping a macro multi-year resistance zone into support. We'd be looking at some kind of aggressive move going in to close out the year, much higher than this. And I would say great possibility of 100 still if we can somehow manage that. So there we go. Exciting times ahead, I think. Give it some time. Even if we hesitate here and hold, Chainlink's doing exactly what it needs to do. All right. Quote and card of the day. It's amazing how complete is the delusion that beauty is goodness. I don't know. Is it? I think that's a little delusional. I never looked at someone that's someone, I guess if we talk about nature, but I don't know. Find that one hard to believe. I don't look at something that's beautiful and think, look how good that is. Almost the opposite if it's in humans, right? All right. Looking at car of the day. Porsche 918 Spider. These are not in pesos, folks. That's 3.3 million US. Very rare car. I thought this was hilarious. High-end audio. I sure as hell hope we have high-end audio in a $3 million car, sir. But these are very rare. Look at the single lug, like the racing lugs. Pretty sweet. The engines are epic. I mean, look at the exhaust. If you haven't seen one of these before, like this is also a hybrid. This is part electric. Back before it was, right? This is 2015. 10 years old. Let's see if we can get any other shots. Here we go. We got some interiors. Pretty special. Look at the back of the seat. All carbon. This 10-year-old car. And this looks amazing now, does it not? Hard to make a car that's not dated 10 years old. I think this one qualifies. I could tell you this is 2025. Where would you argue that it's not? Even the display. That's where they usually get it wrong, right? Like cars that are 10, 20 years old, the infotainment is terrible. But this, I think, is still on par. Amazing car. I'd be nervous as hell driving this, though. Like an inch off the ground. You'd scrape everywhere, would you not? Carbon fiber, everything. Again, you would hope so. Oh, I caught the first dated thing. Look at the GPS. That looks a little dated, right? Still looks pretty nice, though. Pretty nice for $3 million. I don't think that should be. They got the key. That's a little dated, right? I ain't driving now that I got to stick keys in. Something like that. All right. We'll end it on this door panel. How much you think that would be to replace? 50 grand? Oh, I did want to show you this. If we go back to the front, if you're still with me. Look at this dealer. Look at the background here. What we got? SVJ? $1 million. Lamborghini Urus? 300 grand. This probably might be another SVJ right there. See if I can get a different angle. Yep, we have a green we could have 3 SVJs, which are all $1 million each. I think this is a Bentley. There's a Ferrari like 488 back there. I'd just like to walk through here. Wow. Some epic cars. Another like 488. All right, we'll end it here. Have a great weekend. We'll do more next week. Link videos every day seem to be the people's choice. We'll keep dealing with the people. We'll see how the Bitcoin weekly close goes. A little bonus. If we close at like 117.5 or slightly higher, that would print a near textbook Dragonfly Doji on the weekly for Bitcoin, indicating a high probability of local low and full send back to the high side and to price discovery.